Yo, what up guys, OPTCG Daniel here, back at it again with a first place deck profile. And this time it is Nick, also known as Nicky de Raad. And to my OG viewers, if you watched me in the OPO1 format, then you know Nick, because he topped a lot of locals. We made a lot of deck profiles of Nick, so Nick is a fellow local player. And we went to multiple regionals in Germany. And yeah, he finally got first place. He topped some online events, and now he actually got first place. He went 10-0 in the last online regional by No Heroes. So yeah, Nick, let's see what your deck has in stock.
Yes, let's start with one drops. I was ordering them a bit. Of course, first four buggies. Uh, yeah, buggy is just usually your best starter. Even if you don't pull an event from it, yeah, it's just a 3K body. It's just a really good card. I'm playing around, let me see, 10, 12 events. So usually there was always like one card I could pick with the buggy. So I didn't whiff with him a whole lot. The crazy part is I probably whiffed a little bit more with Izo than with Buggy. So that yeah, that worked out. Um, the card we're talking about for Izos. For the Izo, I had around the same amount of targets out of the top of my head, also 15. With the Izo, I whiffed a bit more, just because I tacked some stuff in that wasn't Whitebeard, but I felt like they were necessary. Um, but it was fine overall in the event. I think I whiffed, let me see, with the buggy I whiffed like 2 or 3 times, and with the Izo I maybe four times. But yeah, usually I would play the buggy out first because I know I usually hit more with this if I don't have events in my hands and less with this. So I'd rather play this than this. But I think in general you rather do that. Then for two more one drops, the Gordon. Yeah, not much to say about it. Just an amazing card. Um, if even if you don't have Fire Fist or something and you play the Gordon and you bottom deck it, you can just swing with your little bodies to clear something big. Especially in the Whitebeard matchup when you know they're going to their seventh on turn and they're playing the ace. If you have a Gordon, you just play the Gordon, bottom deck it, and then swing. Then you have the chance finally with your buggy, just with the leader on Don on leader, swing with the little bodies, get some free value out of it. That's for the Gordon, and of course, yeah, the Fire Fist and stuff. You also use them for that. Trio Tamas. I needed some room for the one drop, so I played three instead of four. Yeah, basically, you would rather have this for him than for her. You rather use it as a 2K. Not much to say about that. Two Maguras to tempo out some swings with your buggy, your Izo, uh, or whatever you have in store at that moment. Same with the Makino. Play four Makinos. I value the Makino more because, yeah, you often also play it out to just swing with your little bodies. Even if you play like Magura into Buggy and you play Makino into the Buggy or into the Magura, if they clear the Buggy. It's just a lot of tempo, especially early game when you need it against Katakuri or something. That's for those. Then I played two choppers. I heard a lot of controversy about this, also from
The
Eggman.
Eggman, yeah.
Yeah, the Eggman, because I get it, because you usually want to go aggressive with this deck. But I expected a lot of Whitebeards and a lot of Katakuris for some reason, and just basically big bodies that usually can't clear the board. So it's usually just like an extra life, and you can search it with the Curly Dadon. So I'd rather play the Chopper than play something like Fossa or the Bartholomew blocker. But yeah, it's just a one cost blocker, so it gives you some defense if you just need to survive for one more turn until you can go for game against the Whitebeard or something. And it's searchable off the Dadon, so um, it felt good. Also, even if it doesn't die at that point, you can also always buff it with the Magura, and with the Dawn on your leader, it's just a 5k. Or buff it with the Makino. So it's an extra swing in times you don't expect it. That being said, in the whole tournament, I only drew it in the final. And I had it in my starting hand, so I just played it out to preserve an extra life. So it wasn't hugely impactful, so I'm probably gonna cut it. But yeah, it felt good at the time, so I just left it there. Uh, One Sanji, um, you basically just hard mulligan for this when you're playing against Rebecca. Other than that, it's just a 2k counter. Also had it in my final match in my hands, and I had it in my Rebecca matchup. I started with it, so I didn't have to mulligan. But yeah, if you're against Rebecca, you just need this. I feel like I didn't want to put in more because then it muddies the deck more than it already has. And yeah, it just felt good to keep it at one. Uh, Two Vistas, uh, amazing against the law matchup if you can play it on curve. Basically, you just search for this or your Marco, either or. Um, and yeah, it's just a very good card to have against law. It kills that curve a bit. Three Red Zoros. I feel like the Red Zoro is almost mandatory, especially with Katakuri. You just need more swings. Swinging higher feels good, but I'd rather just play him for three and swing six because I have a Don attached to my leader. It just gets the 2k out of their hands and it forces them to deal with another body on the board. And yeah, if the matchup went good and don't have a lot of bodies on the board, this just like can seal your victory. And I was also lucky. I had two categories that day, and I think combined they had like one trigger, and that was a thunderbolt out of one of the opponent's first lives, and that killed the buggy. But yeah, that wasn't hugely impactful. So yeah, that was very lucky on my part. But yeah, I think it's a very good card. Also against the Whitebeard, because yeah, you don't have to attach anything on it, and you get instant value. And if they clear it, it's another life you preserve. So I think it's a really good card. Two Josus, just a 2k counter with a Whitebeard name attached to it. If your hand is really dead, I like the fact it's 4k, so you can always play it out, and it's automatic 5k with your leader. Um, didn't really come up much. It was just a 2k counter most of the event. Uh, Then I played three Marcos. The reason I played three is because I expected there to be more blue and more Rebecca. So I expected the card to be basically if I had one, because usually even if I play four, I usually have one or two. I expect it to be bottom decked on the first time it's played, because yeah, the 3000 World costs four and the Marco costs five. So even if I played on curve, they probably just play then the 3000 Worlds or even the King Kong Gun on curve to bottom deck it, because that's just more value for them. So I felt it was good at three, and that's also because I'm playing three of these, and also because I'm playing two more cards I'm gonna show later. I felt like um, it got a little bit muddy if I put another Marco. So I felt like on three it's a good spot, and yeah, of course you can also find him with the EZO. So yeah, either you search it for the matchups you really want, you mulligan for the matchup you really need it, and if you start with a one EZO or two EZO and you don't have any, it didn't with me yet. So I usually found it either with the EZO or out of life or in starting hand. Then one Brook. Uh, the Brook, I basically tried to squeeze in instead of the Flamenco because I used to play one or two Flamencos. And I felt like the Flamenco, I never play it out for some reason. Like it doesn't feel that impactful to minus one card for 2k. Um, So the Brook just felt way better, just attaching one down to him, even if you wanted to your leader and just swinging 7k and minusing two cards for 2000. If you can play this on curve against the Katakuri, I practiced this a lot with a friend of mine. You did just demolish their entire board if you have a Fire Fist. So it's a really good guard in that regard. Yeah, the only thing is you can search it. So it's more like if you have it in a yellow matchup or in certain matchups, it's a good card. Otherwise, it's just a 1k counter. Because in most matchups, you probably rather play this out than this. But it works really good against Rebecca. It works really good against Doffy. It works really good against yellow. So yeah, it has a lot of uses. That's why I tried to fit it in. And then the one Teach, Marshall D Teach. Um, This one is searchable, but basically the same story as this. Like I probably only want to see it against Whitebeard because I would kill my little guys with this card for the boost and the draw. Only against Whitebeard because otherwise I just value them too much. Because yeah, it's like one lead don on your leader, um, one don on your buggy, or two dons on your Ezo or whatever. Like the extra swings are more valuable, I think, than using the teach effect. But yeah, if you're against Whitebeard and I had 5 Whitebeards that day, it's just way more valuable. Like I would mulligan for this instead of the Marco because I noticed I value the value I get from this is so much. I'll probably boost it to 2 instead of 1, just because I got so much value out of it that day. Um, yeah, now going to the events. I'll start with the highest card. I play 3 guard points. Yeah, not too much to say about that. I played 3 because I wanted to fit in some other event cards. So 3 felt like a good number. I play 1 Radical Beam. Sadly, only 1. But yeah, it's in the deck. I play 1 Red Hawk. Really good card against Mirror and Law. Even a good card against Whitebeards because you can pop the Vossa, you can pop the Bartholomew if they don't attach dons. So it's a very good card if you just need to survive one more turn and you pop blocker simultaneously. So yeah, it worked really out really well. I even had it in my in the semifinals in my last life as a trigger. So it's a really good card to have. Uh, 1 pistol. Uh, had this come up a few times as trigger. Really good card. Also, even if you don't trigger it, it's still a really good card against Law and Whitebeard because you just usually value training. Because if they play a vanilla or something, you pop it with the pistol. If you're against a Law, if they play a Law, you pop it with the pistol. It's just very good value just for the 4. I even had it come up that because I couldn't swing hard on the Whitebeard and he had a Marco on the field, I just popped it with the pistol to see if I could kill it with my characters. But because he didn't have any events in hand, he just had to let it go while he had like 9 cards in hand. So that's also a lot of information you can get out of it just by popping something. Because for me it was just like I want an event out of your hand. I already have all the value on my board and I can't play anything, so I'll just pop something for 4 and get an event out of your hand for next turn. So that worked out really well. One of the kickback courses. Um, yeah, it's a new card in OP4. I don't see a lot of decks running it, but I think it's a really good card, especially in this deck, because you just have a lot of bricks, right? You have the buggies, you have the teaches, you have the Zoros, you have the choppers in my case, you have the Gordons, so you have just a lot of cards that don't have counter, and even in the finals, it didn't come up, but even in the finals, when I flipped my last 2 life, it was a Zoro and an Ezo. So this just gives them value to the Zoro, right? Because you can give it plus 3,000. Um, let me see. Sorry, that's my dog barking. I hope it's not too loud.
No, it's
Um,
fine.
1 Diable Jambe. Uh, Such a good card. Came up so many times. Such a good card. Um, you hit it with the buggy, either top decked it like in the finals. Um, if you can draw it or get it out of life without them knowing, it's a huge deal because yeah, they just don't expect it or they don't play around it. Um, Most good players will. They will not try to not go to 0 life, just defend their entire hand against you bringing them to 0. But yeah, it works. It works really great. 2 fiery dolls. Because yeah, the fiery dolls, I feel like they're almost mandatory because you need them to bridge that gap against Whitebeards, and you need them to sometimes bridge the gap against, for example, Katakuri, because usually they just have a big hand during the end game because either they got everything or they got a lot of triggers, and yeah, they run so many 2Ks, you just need something to swing over it. And yeah, this in combination, of course, is insane. And 2 Fire Fists. I actually wanted to play 3 because you need it in a lot of matchups, but for some reason I don't know what to replace for them to play 1 extra. So I felt 2 was good. Um, Sometimes even if the board state looks too good to be true, sometimes you don't even want to play him. I even had like a one law opponent telling me like, I played these cards out because I wanted you to Fire Fist because I still had like a whole refresh in my hand, and he just wanted me to Fire Fist his Robin and rush Zoro instead of like the loss that he still had in hand. So he tried to bait me in it. So sometimes it's better to just hold them on to maybe late game. If you know you're like ahead, just hold on to them because um, sometimes it's just better. And yeah, that's the entire deck.
All right. And what were the matchups, if you remember them?
One Rebecca, two Katakuris, five Whitebeards, and I think three Laws. Uh, I was really lucky with the Rebecca. He told me his opening hand, and his opening hand were 3/7 cost Luffy's and two stage cards. So in the match, he played like two Sabos just to cycle his hand. So yeah, he basically was just taking everything, and yeah, if he's taking everything, I know his hand is crap because yeah, Rebecca wants to defend every life they can, especially because they just refresh everything every turn with drawing cards and stuff. So yeah, I was lucky with that because I don't. It's so hard to beat Rebecca with Zoro. I feel like 9 out of 10 times you just lose against Rebecca if they draw reasonable and you draw reasonable, you just die. Like you need to high roll them or they need to low roll just to win. Um, yeah, also, like I already said with the categories, they had combined out of 10 lives, they had one trigger. So yeah, that's just the best you can have, right? Like that's amazing. Like I played locals that a friend of mine had 5 triggers. So yeah, it's that just helps you out a lot. It shortens the game a lot. Um, and let's see, yeah, the Whitebeards, most of them drew reasonable. I think like one of them bricked maybe because he had like 6 cards in hand, and he had like one counter because he had a lot of aces and rushes in his hand. Um, but yeah, most of them went good. The only Whitebeard that had the 9 cost was, I think, the guy in the semifinals. Um, but yeah, it wasn't usually impactful because could clear his board a little bit, but was a really good player as well. So that was exciting. But yeah, Whitebeard is the same since OP2, so that matchup is kind of self-explanatory for most people with Zoro. It's just like try to get him to 0 life, then try to whittle down their hand slowly, and then go in for the kill. Try not to go in for the kill too early, and then it should be fine. But yeah, it's usually like either or you need one more turn to survive to give it game, or they need one more turn to kill you. So it's usually it's really close. Like I had a few matches with Whitebeard, it was really close, or they like were missing like 1k, you know. Then I swing with 16, they had 16 in hand. So yeah, it usually comes down to like 1 or 2 cards against the Whitebeard.
All right. And are you still gonna play Zoro in OPO5 or different deck?
In OPO5, I feel like Zoro is so dead. I just feel like other decks are in OP5 are really taking over the meta, like Purple Luffy, NL, Sakazuki, I think. Yeah, Sakazuki, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like they're taking over so hard, and plus the new black card that pops all 1 drops, like I think the Lucci, the 4 drop Lucci. Like it's yeah, it's too much. Like I feel like Zoro can still have a place there, but I feel like it's a very rough spot to be in.
All right.
So I'm probably not gonna play him in OP5. It remains to be seen. It depends how the meta shifts and how it changes. Because yeah, it's way different here in AU than let's say America or Japan or something. So
Yeah,
it's
very
it's
different.
a wait and see for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have any shoutouts you want to give?
Yes, I have shout outs to the Dutch One Piece community for helping me practice on webcam and on sim together. Shout out to Bali on Discord and Skepage on Discord for helping me prepare for the Katakuri, Rebecca, and Law matchups. Shout out to OPTCG Daniel for also helping me prepare for it. And yeah, just shout out to the Dutch One Piece community. And yeah, get wrecked to all the haters.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah.
Then I wish you good luck in your further career of One Piece.
Yes, thanks, bro.
All
You
right.
at locals.